Coming to you live, on location, in Virginia, or some undisclosed remote location. The one, the only.
Hey everyone. I'm Lori Kennedy, and today, we're diving into a world where friendship isn't just a word, it's an adventure. Imagine strangers becoming friends through social experimentation and unexpected twists. Sounds wild, right? Wait, what? You're probably thinking, how can this even happen? Well, we sprinkle a touch of humor and heart into everything. Our commentary will have you nodding along, laughing out loud, and sometimes even shedding a tear. We dig deep into what truly binds us together. No way, hold on. We also have panel discussions that'll leave you pondering long after the credits roll. And let's not forget the dance. Yes, dance. Because what better way to celebrate friendship than by moving to the rhythm of life? Our show-stopping dance segments will have you up on your feet, ready to join the fun. So, are you ready to embark on this unforgettable journey with us? Hit that like button if you believe in the power of friendship, and don't forget to share this adventure with your friends.
Good morning. It is 10:32 a.m. I'm a little late, sorry. The June 26, 2025. I want to emphasize 2025. This isn't the topic for the today. We'll get into the topic soon. This is just an old geezer venting because he's pissed. I'm pissed off to the highest of pistivity. Not for me, for a family member in upstate New York. Just about 45 minutes west of Rome, New York. Big red voter area. It's a big blue state, but there's a bright red spot right in the center of the state. Rome, Oneida, Camden, Canastota, everything between Rome and Syracuse. I'm going to wear this hat there someday. Okay. I'm in Fairfax County, Virginia. And they have upgraded. When I first moved into the house I'm in now in 2000, it seemed like every time there was a lightning bolt within 5 miles, we'd lose power. And that block over there would get power, and that block over there would get power. We were always the last one. But after that first 5 years, they did something, and now we very rarely lose power. But in that first 5 years, I would run a generator, a loud, annoying generator, and I would run the essentials, a refrigerator, a fan, and I would allow that neighbor over there and that neighbor over there to run extension cords. That neighbor from where the generator is, probably 50 feet, that neighbor 75 feet. Those are extension cords. It wasn't a perfect fix, but it was a temporary fix. And of course, we haven't had to use it in several years because now we almost never lose power. Well, in upstate New York, Sunday morning, there was an unexpected flood, and a lot of people lost power. That is to be expected. You have a flood, you're going to lose power. You're going to have a boil water thing. You're going to want to drink bottled water for a while. That's to be expected. Sunday, Monday, even Tuesday. But as what they call it, used to be Niagara Mohawk, it's National Grid now. They're on it. They fixed the cities of Rome, Oneida, Canastota, all the places that had like an inflamed hemorrhoid. Very, very true. Yeah. I grew up in Rome, and there's a reason I didn't retire in Rome. Get out of the military in Rome. There's a reason I've settled here, where people have intelligence. So one of my daughters who lives west of Rome, her town, power is restored, but not her block. Her block, power is restored, but not her building. Her building, power is restored, but not her apartment. The original estimate was Wednesday night, 11:30, power and water would be restored. Tuesday, power was restored to half the building, and Wednesday, power was restored to the rest of the building, except her apartment. Do you remember what I said about that neighbor and my generator? We made sure they could run a refrigerator. We made sure they could store food. Upstairs, in front, and to the right, no extension cords. Fucking red state voters. Fucking self-centered Republicans. Now, the landlord's saying the basement, when the flood came, the basement flooded out and it took out everyone's hot water heater and everyone's circuit breaker where all the power comes in, except for the one right underneath my daughter's house, allegedly. Now, they said they could have power restored after National Grid can come into the apartment and make sure everything's dry, which the water never came up into the apartment. But they said they can't do it yesterday, Wednesday, and they can't do it today. But the rest of the building has power. Landlord or neighbor or my daughter, somebody buy a fucking extension cord and let her plug the fuck in. Let her run her refrigerator. Let her chill that bottled water. The heat wave broke last night, so it's not intolerable now, but what the actual fuck? When I get done here, I got some errands to run today. It's Thursday. I have to go out to the Burke house, check the mail, check the lawn, make sure everything's not broken into. The estate's going to put on the market soon, but we still have to check the mail every week. When I'm done with that, I'm going to call my daughter and I'm going to suggest. I have a Lowe's credit card that's it's full capacity. I haven't used the Lowe's credit card in a while. I will happily put on the Lowe's credit card a very loud generator, not one of the newfangled silent ones, a very loud one. And I will have a friend help you install it up there in upstate New York and run power to your apartment and run it all night very, very loud. And let the neighbors and the landlord know the noise will stop when I have power. I'm going to suggest that to her. I don't know. She's got to live there. So she's got to live with her neighbors and her landlord. All right. On to today's subject. Trump's trousers stain. Have you guys heard about this? Okay. I have questions. As we all do. Did the B-2 dropping of 30,000-pound bunker busters, did it really stop Iran's nuclear program? I don't believe so. Why did we go in such a short time from bombing them to everyone stop fighting? I mean, he got very pissed the other morning. This guy, Trump. He got very pissed because Israel and Iran were still fighting after he wanted a ceasefire. There's a ceasefire now orchestrated by Qatar, Iran, and Israel, but he wanted it on his terms, and they were still, lobbing a few bombs and rockets at each other. He was pissed. The famous F-bomb. Why did we go from bombing the shit out of them to everyone behave? Let's have world peace now. I think Iran's buddy, Putin, told Trump to get Israel to stop. You stop. Leave Iran alone. I think Iran's nuclear capabilities are just where they were before the bombing. And we'll get to all that. But there's some patterns in Trump, Taco Trump. A lot of people are calling him Taco now. Trump always cowards out. He doesn't have a spine. I mean, he acts like a spine, like some of these keyboard commandos do on YouTube. But he really doesn't have. When he actually is confronted with Putin, with the Ayatollah, even with Israel, he caves. Yeah. He talked to the reporters and says, "Oh, what the fuck they're doing?" People have power. We have the most compromised president in U.S. history. And, well, let's get to it. We're going to do it in Rachel Maddow fashion. You know Rachel Maddow when she used to be on every day of the week? She'd start her show with this weird story that you really don't understand from decades ago or months ago, and she'd take 5, 6, 10 minutes to get to her point, and then she'll tie it into something that's going on with current events. I'm an impatient man. I get frustrated with that. You're probably impatient too, so you probably want me to bring it up and push play. Trump's trousers stain. Let's hear it. This is from the YouTube channel Legal AF. I don't know what the AF stands for. I'm thinking legal as fuck. I don't know. And they do a series called what is it called? The Court of
the Right Wing, that there's something in there.
Now, did I tell you to talk? No, I was talking. Don't interrupt me. Okay. Legal AF, as you see in the top right-hand corner of what I'm sharing, just under Finkel. And on the left side, the Court of History. This is a YouTube channel and a YouTube series. And these two folks are going to bring on a third person. Do you guys know who Legal All Facts? Okay, maybe, I don't know. It's a new channel to me, but they're bringing on someone named Michael Wolff. You're probably familiar with the name. Well, not so much if you don't read. By the way, I just, on Delphi forums, a guy misquoted The Art of War. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. I apologize. I can't find it. What did I do with it? Okay. There's a famous book that's about 2,400 years old. It's called The Art of War. And the English translation is paper thin. It's written on what I would estimate to be an 8th or a 9th grade reading level. It's very thin. And it's even in the English version. It's bright red. No, that's not it. Okay. What do I do with it? Last year, Holly and I went on a vacation to West Virginia. You might remember me doing a video of us on adult tricycles. On that very short vacation, in between our romance time, our hot tub time, our sightseeing time, I read this book. And ladies and gentlemen, Finkel doesn't read much. Most of my reading material is Bill and Bob stuff. When I was younger, I read a lot, but so I on YouTube, I kept hearing about this Art of War and some quotes from it. So I thought I'd read it, and I read it twice because the English production of it, the English version, it's got the original Art of War, 13 very short, very, very short chapters, very short chapters. I read it inside 4 hours with interruptions. It's actually in the book twice. First time it's just the 13 chapters, and then the second time it's chapters broken up with modern day critiques and stuff, so you can see what modern day warriors think of what Sung said 2,400 years ago. It's really simple read, and I got a little pissy with the guy on the forums because he misquoted Sung from The Art of War. You've all seen that happen here on YouTube before. A guy keeps misquoting The Art of War. And I'm like, if you're going to pretend to be an intellectual and try to quote from a specific book, a specific author, try reading the book first. There's another YouTube character out there I don't talk about anymore. Many times he'd repeat over and over and over again the incorrect quote from The Art of War. So when I went on that vacation, I read it, and it's not in there. There was an easier way. Google it. I Googled it, and what he was saying was attributed to, I think, Napoleon. I don't read any Napoleon. I don't read any Sung either, except for when I'm curious about this. So yeah, I think if you're going to quote something to look like an intellectual, actually read the full context of what you're quoting. I don't care if it's Shakespeare, The Art of War. I don't care if it's the Bible. I don't care if it's a comic book. If you're going to quote it, at least read the whole thing in context and understand what it is you're talking about. But I digress. We're going to meet Michael Wolff. We've heard about him. I've never read him. Actually, I've never seen him in an interview until I saw this. So shut up, Finkel, and get on with it.
Pam Bondi made a point of releasing the so-called Jeffrey Epstein files, and so there was nothing there. And then the deputy director of the FBI, Don Bongino, former right-wing talk show host, said nothing there. But I don't know. It turns out that we are very fortunate to have with us probably the greatest expert who knows more about Jeffrey Epstein and perhaps Donald Trump than any other journalist.
Oh, any other journalist? So like, wait a minute, if you know so much about him, okay, the journalist, okay, from a journalistic aspect, okay, Michael Wolff.
Michael Wolff. He has received 2 National Magazine Awards. He's the author of many books, including probably definitive books about Donald Trump. And his latest book, All or Nothing About Trump's Resurrection, which I've read, I think is the single best book on the campaign.
I cannot opine on that because I have not read it.
And the Times Literary Supplement of London says that Michael Wolff is peerless at invoking the manic energy, chaos, and rivalries of Trump's court. And when he was vicious.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. Audio is better today. I don't know what I was doing wrong yesterday. I think the planets were aligned wrong or some shit like that. Yeah. All right. If I miss your chat and your different channels from the other chatters, I've left the beta thing on. So in the lower right-hand corner, you can see what other people are chatting. I apologize. I'm focusing on what I'm getting. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Let's go.
Viciously attacked by Trump's henchmen for this book. The Times Literary Supplement said it was the ultimate accolade. And that the reason that they were criticizing him is that we can be sure he had genuine access to Trump's circle.
Genuine access. He's not one of these YouTubers who sit like where I'm sitting right now in some office behind a keyboard and a screen, opining on it. He actually was there. So let's hear what he has to say.
And so, Michael, welcome to the Court of History.
Oh.
How are you? Thanks for having me. But
Are we good?
Seconds after he posted that, someone in the White House, very close to Trump, sent me the link and said, "You're welcome."
Well, how do you interpret that?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I think it means, that Trump's attacks are
Yeah.
Profit.
Well, I don't think Elon Musk behaves the way Trump does or has the same psychology.
Elon Musk. Let's see what the tie-in is with Elon Musk. Elon Musk and Trump had a recent breakup. The only thing in the custody that's still pending is who gets custody of J.D. Vance. Big Balls quit. He quit. 19-year-old Big Balls. He'll probably never have a legitimate job again. Oh, wait a minute. That last job wasn't legitimate. Okay, let's continue.
And when he said that it's time to drop the really big bomb last week and said that Trump was in the Epstein files, and
Trump is in the Epstein files. This is what Musk said days after he left the White House. Now, this is the kind of thing that Donald Trump is notorious or famous, depending on how you look at it. He's very well known for suing the shit out of you, or bad-mouthing you, or sending his sending his fuckers after you. Isn't it interesting that this kind of faded out like really fast? My theory is Elon has something on Trump, or Elon knows somebody who has something on Trump, like Putin, like the Ayatollah, like Bibi from Israel. Somebody's got something on Trump. Otherwise, Trump would have gone after him like he went after the people said Melania was a prostitute during the first administration. He sued the shit out of them. Their media organization doesn't even exist anymore because they couldn't prove what they said. And they said it very matter-of-factly. So here's Elon Musk saying very matter-of-factly, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they haven't been made public. Have a nice day, John Trump. The breakup, the public aspect of the breakup stopped almost immediately after that. Trump always cowards out. Taco.
And that's the real reason they haven't been made public. You spoke to the Daily Beast podcast and you talked about some photographs.
Yeah. Photographs. Oh my. What could this be about? It has something to do with my title, Trump's Trousers Sting. Shut up, Finkel. Let Michael talk.
Yeah, let me just set the stage here. I started having a conversation with Jeffrey Epstein in 2014. It was. I mean, I had sort of known him, and then he called me and said,
2014. Okay, remember, 5 years later, Epstein is in jail.
Why don't you write a book about me, about my life and the.
I'm sorry, G-Swag, prison. Fuck off.
People I know. And this was no doubt part of his general effort to rehabilitate himself after having been in jail. And I was like,
Rehabilitate himself or his image? Once a pedo, always a pedo. Ain't that right, Donald? Ain't that right, Donald? Okay. Rehabilitate his image, but let's continue.
Probably not. But he was incredibly gracious about it and said, "Well, you decide, but feel free to come and talk to me anytime and come to my house. There's a lot of interesting people here. I'm transparent, and then you can decide." And I started to do this, and it was, among other things, eye-opening and completely fascinating. And he was absolutely right that the people you met at Jeffrey Epstein's house were startling.
Now, I have the benefit of having watched this interview twice, so I know what he's going to say. I forget in which order he says it, but it is well known that Epstein did this thing. A lot of famous people do, or a lot of people who want to be more famous than they are. They would take a public figure, meet them at a party or something, invite them to a party, somehow get next to them and get their picture taken. That's why you see all kinds of people in posed photographs at events, public or private. When later on, when one or the other gets into some kind of trouble or hot water, they say, "Oh, look, a relationship." Sometimes it's just, I'm going to stand next to the Pope just so I can say I'm with the Pope. They're going to cover that. I don't remember at what point. Not everybody that Epstein did this with is necessarily a pedophile. I believe, and I can't be sure, I believe it did include William Jefferson Clinton. I do believe it included Donald John Trump. I do believe that a lot of the people were involved in the pedophilia, not all of them. There is a picture of Epstein and the Pope. I'm not buying that. Not the current Pope, the previous two popes. Anyway, just because they managed to get a picture taken with him doesn't necessarily mean they're buddy or they're doing the same hobbies.
Endlessly interesting.
He cultivated all sorts of people for.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's in kind of weird. I mean, it just sort of played with your head. I mean, I remember once coming in and you walk up a little set of stairs in this large house, one of the largest houses in Manhattan. And he's standing at the top of the stairs with some guy who I recognize, but.
Okay, this one, I think it was just climbing the social ladder. Remember, Epstein was really big on connecting with people in Silicon Valley and other places of technology. So the name you're about to hear, I don't believe he was in that Epstein Island thing. I don't. It's possible, but there are many cases where he was just wanting to be seen with people to climb the social ladder. Let's hear the name.
I can't quite pin down who this is. Did I go to high school with this person? That weird sense. And then Epstein said, "Oh, Michael, you know Bill, and Bill, you know Michael." And then I thought, "Oh my God, it's Bill Gates." And it was a succession of things like that, almost as if they were posed to get some reaction out of you. At any rate, that's the background. I spoke to him on and off from 2014 through to the Trump campaign, and then the first year of the Trump administration when I was writing my book, Fire and Fury.
Fire and Fury. I will not quote it. I've never read it. Back to my earlier thing about quoting something. If you read it and you get the context, you quote it accurately, that's no problem. I've never read Fire and Fury, so I will never quote it. Everyone's familiar with the book, just like everyone's familiar with The Lord of the Rings. Everyone's familiar with the Bible. I won't quote from Fire and Fury unless I've read it, which I probably never will. Other people, I may quote somebody who quotes it. If someone says, "This is an insert from the book," and I'm like, "Hey, Michael Wolff reports blah, blah, blah." But I won't use okay, I'm over explaining it. Fire and Fury, everyone's heard of that, right? Probably none of us. I'm going to guess there's 9 of you in the audience right now and one of me. Probably all 10 of us have not read it. If I'm wrong, I apologize. I know I haven't read it.
In which Epstein became a very, very helpful source, because Epstein and Trump had been the best of friends for almost 15 years.
Best of friends. Michael, what happened? Why did they become less than best of friends?
So, that's at the center of these of this connection of trying to make this connection to Trump and Epstein is that they came from the same place. They helped each other's rise. They were instrumental, I think, in each other's rise. But at any rate, at one point after Trump had been elected, I was sitting talking to Epstein, and he said, "Wait a minute, I got to show you something." And then he went into his safe, and he came out with with photographs. They were Polaroids, I think, and he kind of spread them out like playing cards, and it was Trump. I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age.
Girls of an uncertain age. What is the married man Donald Trump doing with girls of an uncertain age? We're not clear on the ages, but we know Epstein's flavor. Let's continue.
At Epstein's Palm Beach house, where all of the things that he would ultimately be accused of took place. And I remember very vividly 3 of them. There are 2 in which Trump is, the girls, topless girls are sitting.
Topless girls sitting on the lap of a married man who many of you think is a great president. Girls of what age? Again, we don't know the age, but we do know Epstein's preference on girls. And we don't mean young women. I don't know. Let's continue.
On Trump's lap. And then a 3rd in which he has a stain on the front of his pants.
A what? A stain on the front of his pants after half-naked girls were sitting on his lap?
And
don't take out on me now. Don't glitch. Don't glitch.
Girls are sitting on Trump's lap. And then a 3rd in which he has a stain on the front of his pants.
Oh my.
And the girls are kind of pointing at it, sort of bent over, laughing, covering
their mouths.
Yeah, exactly.
This is gross, but let's get through it.
Exactly. And pointing 3 or 4 girls. And those are the ones I specifically remember. And my assumption is that they were in the safe, and I have seen them on other occasions take them out of the safe. And I think
so. Epstein was very open about sharing these pictures with people in his circle as he's trying to climb some kind of social ladder.
it's certainly not unlikely that they were in the safe when the FBI came in after his arrest and took everything from the house, including.
Okay, keep that in mind. The FBI arrested and raided Epstein's house after Trump became president, after Trump fired James Comey, while Trump was the head of the executive branch, which included Department of Justice and the FBI. What happened to these pictures? I have questions. Come on, Michael, talk to me.
It's certainly not unlikely that they were in the safe when the FBI came in after his arrest and took everything from the house, including everything that was in the safe. That's what
the FBI raided Epstein's house. When did they do that? Do you recall?
Just after his arrest in July 2019.
Before COVID, after Comey's firing, after he's shown these pictures to so many, all of a sudden the FBI doesn't have the pictures.
It was reported that they took the contents of his safe, and that's where he kept them. And
yes. No, it's perfectly possible that they were not there then. I don't know, but I know that they have not showed.
It's possible, unlikely, since this is one of the trophies from the safety he likes to show people as he's climbing the social ladder.
Shown up in any account of what was taken from.
I think I pause it for that comment.
Yeah. So did Epstein say, do you get a sense of what year or what period those photographs were when they might have been taken?
Yeah, either 1999 or 2001, possibly.
Yeah.
At which time Trump and Epstein were like that. They're going to have a falling out a few years later. We'll see why.
He showed them to you. Given your knowledge of Epstein, and would you think he would have shown them to anybody else?
Yeah, I think it's likely. I've seen at least one reference to them that does not come from me. I think it was in a British publication, the Daily Mail, maybe the Time. I can't remember, but it was. I actually.
And oddly, not the right-wing media, not the left-wing media, not the media. Nobody else but Wolf and this British publication mentioned these pictures.
I think it was in The Spectator.
Yes, Spectator. The Spectator. Epstein had photos of Trump with girls. Yep, that's The Spectator. It's a British publication. You can't read too many details without buying a subscription, but the first paragraph is still there. Sexy and sort of suggested. Read. Oh, I could have gotten a free trial, but I'd have to, give up my information. So, I didn't read it, but yes, it is out there. It is out there in the media, but not MSNBC, not Fox News, not CNN, not ABC News, just Michael Wolff in his book and his interviews, and of course, some British newspaper. I don't know anything about that newspaper. For all I know, it's a tabloid. I don't know. Do you guys know?
And so Epstein had close relations with foreign leaders, even foreign adversaries.
Adversaries.
And you've described being in his house and seeing photographs of foreign leaders, framed pictures.
Yes, and I've been there with foreign leaders.
Yeah, who were in the pictures?
Well, in the pictures,
again, the pictures doesn't necessarily mean the person in the picture was part of the pedophilia bullshit. But some of them were. We don't know all of them. I do suspect two presidents, Clinton and Trump. I don't think the Pope. I don't think Bill Gates. I could be wrong. I don't know.
There were Castro.
I believe Castro.
The Pope.
No.
MBS.
Mohammed bin Salman.
Yes.
Yep. That Saudi murderer. Yep.
Clinton, obviously. A range of those.
Yeah, prominent people he had met.
By the way, you Trump handsies out there who may watch this later, when they say Clinton, they mean Bill Clinton, not Hillary.
Yes.
These are pictures of the two of them. Is that it? I mean, they're like ego pictures of the two of them?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, sort of what we call the wall of power.
The wall of ego, or the wall of power, right?
Right.
In their offices.
Right.
But did he ever speak to you? You spoke to him often. Did he ever speak to you about talking to Putin?
Yes.
And what did he say?
Well, I remember.
I don't know if you guys caught that. I was reading some of the chats. Putin has been shown these pictures. Has Putin been given a copy? We all know Russia, right? It's a proven fact that the Russian folks under Putin helped Trump in both campaigns. Manafort, who's that guy? Michael, the former general, Flynn, Steve Bannon. It goes on and on and on. Russian oligarchs and Putin himself, they helped Donald Trump both times.
At one.
You spoke to him often. Did he ever speak to you about talking to Putin?
Yes.
And what did he say?
Well, I remember at one point he said he was going to see Putin, and he described the set of the flight pattern that he was taking, his plane to such and such.
That's right. Jeffrey Epstein, in control of these pictures, compromising pictures of Trump with half-naked young girls and a stain on his trousers, went to Russia. He's been to Russia. He's personally been hanging out with Putin, who probably has something to do with the young girls too. Putin has compromising information on Trump. Are we tying it together yet? No. Let's keep going.
Such a city, and then on from.
No, Melania is not Russian, but she is a Russian hack. Slovenia? I'm not sure where she's from. It's not Russia, but yeah, she's also in bed, more ways than one, with Putin.
On from there via, I don't remember, possibly Putin's plane.
So he had a personal relationship with Putin.
Yeah.
Personal relationship, buddy.
Let's not go overboard on these things. He
He's trying to soft pedal it. Are you afraid of Putin, Michael?
was.
Don't worry, Michael. You're not going to fall out of a window. You're in America.
Jeffrey was prone to. There was a reality, and then there was the somewhat augmented reality. I would say he didn't shy away from improving on a story.
Yeah. Would any of them, knowing Epstein, would he have mentioned this to them, shown these pictures to them, and not simply the pictures, but talked about his relationship with Trump in detail?
I don't know. I spend a considerable amount of time with.
You're being nice, Michael. Come on. We've established that Epstein likes to brag about these pictures. We've established that Epstein has a personal relationship with Putin. We already know Trump has had and wanted a personal relationship with Putin. I hope he's going to be my best friend. Yeah. Putin knows about the pictures. Putin probably has copies of the pictures. Let's not be naive. I know you're afraid of falling out of a window. I get it.
With Epstein, for instance, and with Ehud Barak, and Ehud knew everything about Jeffrey.
Ehud Barak is a former prime minister of Israel. Oh, the plot thickens.
They were very close friends.
Ehud Barak, born in Kibbutz. Barak is the okay, yeah. He was. Oh, yeah. He's not a nobody. He's a somebody.
And involved in discussions between Epstein and Ehud Barak, in which the subject was Trump, and Ehud was.
Steve Bannon's favorite topic, Trump. Epstein's favorite topic, Trump. Putin, yeah. I'm really. Am I grasping for straws here, or is it as obvious to you as it is to me? I don't know where Kim Jong stands in it, but they fell in love by Trump's own admission. Of course, I think they're falling out of love now. I think Kim is very jealous of Trump's sexual relationship with Putin. But let's continue.
Was interested in knowing everything possible that Jeffrey could tell him about Trump.
Yeah.
Everything possible.
So how discreet was Jeffrey Epstein? Or did he like to gossip?
Yeah.
He very much liked to gossip. And I think one of the things that drew so many people to his house, so many powerful people, was that Jeffrey was within that circle that he was comfortable with, incredibly indiscreet and incredibly funny and incredible.
Yeah. If he's willing to show Michael these pictures, he's shown many people these pictures, including people who wield power over Trump. Ain't that right, Vlad?
Incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
There's just I wrote, I've been very sort of careful about what I write about Epstein, because a lot of people have not wanted me to write about Epstein. I've proposed an Epstein book on various occasions, and even, I have a fairly.
Why did Epstein come to hate Trump?
Yeah, what was the
What happened between Epstein and Trump? This gets good, guys. Have you fallen asleep yet? Wake up. The good stuff's coming.
what was the change?
Well, the way Epstein told it is that in 2004 they had
Mark that time, 2004.
a fight over a real estate deal in Florida. I mean, what are the things rich guys fall out over? Almost exclusively.
This was a Russian,
real estate.
wasn't it?
Yeah, Epstein had.
You've probably heard me talk about this before on one of these two channels. By the way, I'm publishing right now to Finkel, my original 1A channel, and to the Finkel Dunking channel. And I can't remember when, but I've talked about this piece of property before. I think I was on a couple other panels too, where I brought it up, and they're like, "You don't know what you're talking about." This property in 2004. Let's hear more about it.
Had believed he was the high bidder on a house in Palm Beach.
Palm Beach, Florida, expensive house. Let's continue.
He took his friend Trump with him to give him some advice about how to move the swimming pool. Epstein had bid $36 million. Trump immediately went around his back and bid $40 million.
Okay, there's Trump stabbing his buddies in the back. At this point, they're really close friends. And Epstein wants Trump's advice on the pool if he buys this house. And he's got a $36 million bid in for this house. Trump outbids him with money that at the time Trump did not have. This is how Trump keeps going broke, bankrupt, and then building his wealth in. Are you paying attention? This is how he does it.
So Epstein was livid, and Epstein believed that Trump didn't have the money to do this, so that therefore he must be fronting for someone.
He's fronting for somebody. Bingo.
Who did he think he was running for?
Any guesses in the chat? Who was Trump fronting for? Trump did not have $40 million in 2004. That was one of his slumps where he was broke and he needed to rebuild his wealth. How do you rebuild your wealth when you're broke and you suddenly have $40 million to buy a property on behalf of somebody else? Any guesses? Any guesses? Russian oligarchs. Yeah, Russian oligarchs. Let's get to it.
Well, the guy who ultimately a year later bought the house for $100 million.
A $60 million profit. $60 million. What would you do if 60 million easily? I could use 60 million.
Ribble.
I would super chat the hell out of everybody if I had $60 million. Let's continue.
Do I have the
Yes,
name?
that's
tabloid aspects to it. At one point,
This is 8 years ago. This is Rachel Maddow discussing the very same house. This is the story that I went off in the last couple of years, explaining to many other panels that this happened. And they're like, no, it didn't happen. Okay.
she accused him of having orgies on his yacht with young girls, and
This is the Russian oligarch who bought the house. He's going through a divorce.
he accused her of stealing jewelry. He, in fact, had her arrested as a jewel thief at some point. Mostly what they fought about, though, was dividing their money. She thought that she was entitled to a multi-billion-dollar settlement in the divorce. And, this is important, she accused him of hiding his money so she couldn't get access to it. She accused him specifically of, quote, secreting and transferring assets in order to avoid his obligations. She basically said in order to keep her from getting her hands on what she believed was his money, he started putting his money in places she couldn't get to it. He started putting his money in very large chunks, in the largest chunks he could.
To purchase these super high-end properties. It's a great investment for them, and a lot of people.
By the way, this story shows it wasn't just the Palm Beach property where he was fronted $40 million to buy the house and then resell it to the same guy for $100 million. But basically, on the surface, it looked like he made a $60 million profit. He really made a $100 million profit off that one property. There are other properties, same oligarch, same Trump. And there's other oligarchs doing the same thing.
think that it's safer than the stock market.
In 2008, Ekaterina's father, Dmitry Ryboloviev, also bought this 33,000.
Put a pin in that. This is the property I'm talking about. 2008. You guys remember what happened in 2008?
Square foot Florida estate from Donald Trump. He paid the Donald $95 million in cash. He may reportedly lose it, though, in an ugly divorce battle that could cost him half his worth. But the New York penthouse should be safe. It's
Seller.
New York penthouse and the 90. Yeah, okay, two of them.
This guy, the king of fertilizer, Dmitry Ryboloviev, he's just a walking cash register if you have the right kind of thing to sell him.
Isn't that interesting? The oligarch in charge of fertilizer in Russia is richer than most Americans. And Russia's economy is smaller than the economy of Italy. They're a broke-ass nation. We're the wealthiest nation on the planet, and most of our citizens are in awe of that kind of wealth. Something's wrong in Russia. And something would be wrong in America if we pursued that type of government.
Behold, La Maison de l'Amitié. My only thing worse than my Russian pronunciation is my French pronunciation. But La Maison de l'Amitié, it means house of friendship.
Beautiful house, isn't it?
House of Amity. Remember the Amityville Horror? The House of Amity, this house, was built in 2001 by a zillionaire, American zillionaire, who moved from New England down to Palm Beach, Florida, but then sadly he promptly went bankrupt. While he was still Richie Rich, before he went bankrupt, he did build this astounding house. It is tens of thousands of square feet. It has 22 bathrooms. Think about that. 22 people can go all at the same time.
By the way, I don't know if she mentions it, but from the time it went on auction, since that zillionaire went broke, till the time the Russian oligarch had it bulldozed, nobody lived in it. Bid on by $36 million by Epstein, outbid by Trump for $40 million. A couple years later, sold by Trump for $100 million, and a couple years after that, bulldozed. Nobody lived in the house the entire time. Nobody used the house.
Although, watch out if they all flush at the same time. Kaboom! This zillionaire guy built this incredibly gaudy, gigantic mansion in Palm Beach, Florida in 2001. By 2004, it had been seized by the bankruptcy court, and he and his wife were on their way to facing tax evasion charges. But this house was put up on auction in conjunction with the bankruptcy in 2004. The person who bought the house on auction is now President Donald Trump. He bought it
Boom.
for $40 million. And then that big house in Palm Beach, it sat empty for 2 years. And it became sort of this local legend in Palm Beach real estate because the house was thought of as, locally, it was thought of as kind of a monstrosity. It was frequently described as gauche, as rococo. It had like fake art everywhere, you know, art inspired by real painters, just sort of copies of stuff painted on the walls. Parts of the interior of the house were cobblestone, which nobody could quite explain. It also
2008. Are we done? Okay, we're done with this one. All right. Stretch your legs, take a break. We're going to pull up the second one. This one's much shorter. We're almost there. All right. Break's over. Let's continue.
But Donald Trump bought it for $40 million in 2006. It sat empty for 2 years. And then in 2008, along comes Dmitry Ryboloviev, the king of fertilizer, right? Going through the mother of all divorces.
Fucking fertilizer. How does an oligarch become so rich? By selling fertilizer, by controlling the fertilizer market for the entire Russian Federation. That's how. And that's how you Trump pansies want America to be. Fuck off.
Needing the biggest ticket items you could possibly imagine as ways to shelter.
All right.
Along comes Dmitry Ryboloviev, the king of fertilizer, right? Going through the mother of all divorces.
Good one. House. I just caught that. House of BS. Yeah, the king of fertilizer. Bullshit. I don't know if that was intended or not, but yeah, that's good.
Needing the biggest ticket items you could possibly imagine as ways to shelter his money from his darn wife. The bigger the price tag, the better. I'm buying Greek islands. I'm buying the most expensive apartments in New York City. I need places to put my money. And Dmitry Rybolovlev turns around in 2008 and pays Donald Trump $100 million for that.
2008. A house valued at $36 million, sold for $40 million, and 2008 was sold for $100 million when nobody lived in it in between.
House. 2.5 times what Trump.
2008. All right. Hey, Google, what happened in 2008? Oh, the housing crisis, housing market crash. Let's pull that up. Boom. Yeah. You couldn't sell that property for half its value in 2008 because the housing market was a fucking standstill. Tell me this wasn't a slushing money operation. Tell me this wasn't, yeah. This, yeah. Okay. So do you guys remember 2008 now? Well, this is when the house was sold at 3 times its value. All right, let's get back to Michael. Oh, are we doing an audio glitch again? Okay, I'm having that same phenomenon I had yesterday. Oh, damn, there's the famous bullshit thing. Okay, no sound. Okay, well, if I didn't have the audio glitch again, I'm doing something wrong there. So Trump doesn't go after Elon Musk after Elon Musk throws him under the bus. Why? Because people have the proof of that. Taco Trump backs the fuck off. Trump goes full bore after Iran with these 30,000-pound bunker busters, the highest ordnance bomb that's short. This is not a nuclear bomb. The only bombs that have more power than these things are nuclear bombs. This is the most powerful conventional bomb. He goes after him full bore. Well, and then 2 days later, he's like, Israel and Iran, you need to calm it down. Why? Because Putin said, Trump, stop that. I got the Epstein pictures. I got the Epstein pictures. Well, Taco Trump said, okay, let's have peace. And maybe I can get a Nobel Peace Prize out of it. Yeah. There's more in this. Oh, well, what happened to my sound? Okay, my sound's gone. Okay, we go back. Okay. Now, this is from Popular Mechanics. Again, there's a paywall, but Popular Mechanics scientifically proved that the concrete that these bunkers are built with can defeat the bunker buster. They're getting better at building concrete bunkers. The bunker buster won't destroy, will not obliterate it. You guys heard obliterate a lot lately? 1, the 3 sites were not obliterated. The surface area was damaged. 2, a lot of the stuff was moved out before they were hit. And 3, Trump is lying out his ass when he tells you Iran's nuclear capabilities are set back by decades. And did you notice that during this whole thing, Iran attacked a U.S. airbase in Qatar where 10,000 service members and their families live? They attacked it. They failed. We intercepted all the bombs, but they attacked it. What did this pussy do about it? Nothing. The United States was directly attacked by Iran, and he did nothing about it. He backed off from going to bombing Iran to, let's have peace. Let's have peace. He's a pussy. Why is he pussy? Why is he taco? Because Putin, Epstein's ghost. People have shit on this motherfucker. He is the most compromised president in United States history. He's dangerous to us all. I'll leave that thought with you. I'll leave that nightmare with you. The bunker busters. Ineffective against the recently built Iranian. By the way, a bunker buster was used on Iran back in 2002. We don't talk about it a lot, but that's what inspired Iran to make a better concrete for their bunkers. By subscription, Popular Mechanics. By the way, if you think Popular Mechanics is some kind of left-wing rag, remember that when all the left-wingers were accusing Bush of setting up the World Trade Center to implode, Popular Mechanics debunked that. Popular Mechanics is not a left-wing media source. Popular Mechanics is a scientific source. And they've proven, yet again, that Trump is a fucking liar. Trump is compromised. Putin has shit on him. Iran. The only thing that makes Iran not worse than Russia or North Korea as an enemy of the United States is their ability, and they're building that ability. They want us. They've wanted us since 1979. They have killed Americans in the Middle East since 1979. They attacked America just last week in Qatar. Trump is not doing shit about it because Trump is a piece of shit, anti-American, Putin cocksucking motherfucker. And that's why we have to stand up and say, fuck Trump, and get on with restoring our democracy. Okay, it's 11:32. I have to take care of the house and Bert. I have to contact my daughter and see if she wants that very loud generator. You all have a wonderful day. God bless America. God bless the United States Army Armed Forces. And fuck Donald Trump. Cheerio.